Hi guys, and welcome back to week 5 here of the Reading Roundup. My name is James, and today we're going to go ahead and sit down and talk to you guys about all the latest news and the latest predictions that we have for this upcoming championship season. So throughout today's video, we're going to go ahead and run through a quick review of Reading's final pre-season game against Brighton. We're going to do a transfer roundup as there's been 3 transfers essentially announced now for Reading. We're going to go through with the kit reveal as well. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Reading's brand new home kit with the away kit yet to be released. We'll go through for some predictions for the upcoming season for both the Reading team and also for the championship itself. And finally, we'll go ahead and speak about the Blackpool game, which is the first game of the season coming up on Saturday. So we'll begin by reviewing the Brighton game. And it's safe to say that Brighton just really played us off the park. Obviously, we've made a video on it before, so you've probably seen the video for that one already. But Brighton just really did control us. They really did control the game. They dominated us. Just the passing movement, it was so quick and it was so just perfect. Every single thing that Brighton did was perfect throughout that game. Now, look, they were able to walk through our midfield and through our press really in attack, but we've got to remember that that's going to be the best team that we're going to play all season. We're not going to come up against another team that's going to be that good unless we draw someone big in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. No one is going to be at the SCL this season looking better than that. I thought Ovie Ejaria was useless, to be honest. He was absolutely awful. Everything that man did, he would be giving the ball away. He would just constantly be passing it to Brighton players. Every time he'd get it, he'd lose it. And his effort really as well. He just didn't put any effort in to try and win the ball back. Now look, I know it's pre-season, so you can kind of give people a little bit of we'll let it slide on this one. But we've seen this from Ejaria before. He can be a bit lazy. So I'm hoping this was maybe just pre-season and he didn't care. But look, Ovie Ejaria did not have a good game. Not at all. On the opposite end, Tom Ince worked really hard. Every time that man would lose the ball, he'd chase down 3 or 4 players just to make sure he'd try and win it back or kick it out for a throw-in or even foul someone just to stop the play and the momentum. Tom Ince worked hard as always. Yakou Mate scored again. Yeah, it was a penalty, but that was his 4th goal in pre-season. So Yakou Mate, just look, when you get a fully fit Yakou Mate in your team, this is what you expect to see. Fantastic from him. I'm still not 100% sure about Junior Hoilett playing as a left wing back just yet. He didn't do anything too wrong. Again, I thought Junior Hoilett was pretty solid when playing there. I didn't think he was poor in particular, but I don't think throughout a 46 game championship season that's going to be your starting left wing back throughout the year. So I'm still a little bit unsure. I still think we need to bring someone in. But listen, when he's come in, he's done a decent job there. Defensively, maybe he's not too great. Luckily, he's got Tom McIntyre on that left-hand side of the defence to help him. But he's not done too badly, I don't think. I think going forwards, he looks quite decent. I think he gave Lamptey a couple of problems here and there. Not too many, don't get me wrong. But I don't think he played too badly. Still also think we should play a 5 at the back system because so far we look pretty solid throughout pre-season defensively. The 3 at the backs worked really well. I thought once again against Brighton, listen, we did concede 2 goals, yes, but I thought we looked pretty solid throughout the game. I don't think we limited Brighton to chances, should I say. And I think, playing that 5 at the back system, it's really been working, obviously, with the 2 wing backs pushing on and the 3 sitting at the back. I think Tom McIntyre having them overlaps or them underlaps on the left-hand side has worked as well, quite well. Obviously, we know we can put a ball in. We know he's not too bad with his feet. So, I've quite liked seeing this from Reading. I think Paul Ince is definitely changing his tactics up and he's definitely evolving. And, it's looked like quite decent so far. So, I'll definitely take a 5 at the back. I think we're going to start with a 5 at the back against Blackpool as well. So, be really interested to see what happens in that game. But, we did lose 2-1. Obviously, Mate did score the goal for us. In terms of the Brighton goal, I think it was Solly March maybe that scored for them. And I can't remember who the other. Pascal Gross scored the other goal, either side of half time for them. So that's going to kind of really do it for pre-season and for the Brighton game. In terms of our pre-season, I think we've had a pretty decent run out. Obviously, we won our first game against Colchester. We then lost 2-0 to Benfica. But when we played our first team, we drew 0-0 in the first half. Then beat Maidenhead by 4-0. Went ahead and drew with West Ham 1-1, which was a very decent performance. We then went to Wimbledon and won 2-0, and then finally lost 2-1 to Brighton. So, yeah, I think we had a decent pre-season, in all fairness. I think it was good. A lot of fitness tests has been given. I think throughout the later stages of pre-season, we saw less subs being made, and we were able to really get a grip of what Paul Ince wants to see and what starting 11 he's really going to start running with towards the start of the Championship season. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do come the early starts of the weeks of the season. So we're going to go ahead and move into our next topic now, and that's going to actually be a transfer news roundup. Essentially, it's going to be a confirmation of transfers, and I expect these to be done as soon as I start to post this video, because they've essentially been announced, all three of them, which is just mental that Paul Ince is out here talking about these transfers as if they're done, and obviously they've not been confirmed 100% yet. So the first one we've got is Naby Sarr. This is one that we've known about literally all week. We've been waiting every day for this guy to be announced. The transfer's done. We're just waiting for EFL approval for him. He signed a 4-year deal with Reading. Listen, I know the guy's got a mistake in him, but he does come across as a decent defender as well. Listen, most defenders do have a mistake in them, but he comes across as a decent player. Look, he was at Charlton and Huddersfield before, so he's definitely got experience in the Championship and English football. Big impact at the back I think he's going to have, especially with the younger centre-backs that we've got at the moment. I also think now we're sorted defensively and at the centre-back position, because now we've got Scott Dan, Tom McIntyre, Tom Holmes, Sam Hutchinson and Naby Sarr. That's 5 centre-backs, especially if we're going to be playing as a back three. We've got 2 as backups. We've also got Hutchinson that can slot into the midfield. We've also got the likes of the youth players that we've got. Obviously John Clark had a decent game against West Ham, so could be more to see from him. We've also got the likes of under 23 players that we could even see rise up. Look at Nelson Abbey, look at players like that. Holtzman could be players that we could see really rise throughout pre-season and come in as throughout the season and come in as backup centre-backs. The next player, I spoke about Naby Sarr a lot more in the last Reading Roundup as well. The next player is Mamadou Loum, another player that we spoke about in the last one, and another player that has been waiting to be confirmed all week, essentially. Paul Ince did do his pre-match interview, and he spoke about how he was getting a visa for him. Well, not Paul Ince was getting one, but the club was sorting out a visa for Loum. Looks like he'll be Reading's 3rd centre midfielder that we've bought in pre-season. It's also going to be the 3rd loan that we've bought in terms of central midfielders. He's 6'2". Normally sits in front of the defenders, so he's more of a defensive midfielder. I think especially with the players that we've got at the moment in the system that we're running, with Ajaria and Ince playing more centrally and more kind of being integrated into the midfield, I think that's more important that we get someone that's going to be able to help cover the help cover the defensive side of the midfield, especially with Tom Ince and Ajaria being more forward-thinking players and typically more wingers. The guy played in La Liga last year, and he played at the Nou Camp, and he played at Barcelona. So look, he's definitely got big game experience. It's just a factor of is he going to be able to hack it in the Championship, as we know it's the most difficult league in the world to play in. Finally, the last one is another player that we were linked with early on in pre-season, and it's actually going to be Omari Hutchinson. So it's another player that's really been tied to Reading throughout this pre-season. We were linked with him quite early on when he was an Arsenal player, and since then he's moved to Chelsea, and the rumour kind of died down. And then all of a sudden on Thursday morning it came out that he's basically confirmed to be a Reading player. Listen, I know his dad is one of the scouts at the club, so like for the youth academy, so probably there's a connection there. Look, it's close to completing a move. It will be our 5th loan if we bring in Loum as well. And you can only bring in 5 loan players for a matchday squad. So maybe that's going to be the most that we can bring in. I think you could bring in a maximum of 8 loans throughout a season. Obviously, you can only have 5 in a matchday squad though. So it'd be interesting to see who will drop out if we end up bringing more loans in, especially with us having no left wing back at the minute. Be interesting. Omari Hutchinson is a more forward-thinking player as well. So he'll be looking more for the Ajaria and Ince positions in that midfield. Again, though, we've got the likes of Femi Aziz that are going to be playing there as well. This makes me think that maybe Junior Hoylett will be one of our left wing-back options for this season, especially if we're going to be trying to bring in another more forward-thinking player, as well. Junior Hoylett would be one of them forward-thinking players. So I'm probably thinking he's going to be more of a defensive option this season. Obviously, not a defender, and it's not something that I agree with, is playing Junior Hoylett there. I think he's done all right, but I don't think he's been brilliant. So maybe that's going to be one of the things going forward. Next up, moving into our next topic, we'll go ahead and take a look at Reading's new kit. Again, it's just a bog standard Reading kit, really, with a little bit different about it. You got your blue and your white hoops. Nothing really too different there. But also, the big thing about it is the statement that they've made about climate change on the sleeves. It shows how much the temperature has gone up over the years in Reading. Now listen, I'm not going to get too political into anything like this, so I'm not going to talk about climate change like I know anything about it. I know absolutely nothing about it. I just think it makes the kit look a little bit ugly, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's good. It just looks so out of place, like with the climate change on the sleeves here and then the hoops here. It just looks completely out of place. Still no away kit has been released yet though, and the kit just does not look good to me. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look good. It just looks really out of place. It looks really like the way the sleeves go and the way the hoops go, it just doesn't look natural. I just don't think it looks like a good fit, to be honest. Look, it's a good thing though. It's a good message, I guess, behind it. Reading worked with the University of Reading on obviously the kit itself as well, and the climate change things. I've seen it on the buses around in town as well. The thing that's on our sleeves, the climate change, how much it's gone up over the last few years, the temperature. So yeah, look, I don't know. I can't really comment too much on climate change. I don't know anything about it. I'm here to talk about Reading Football Club, so yeah, I'm not really too sure. I think it was made from recycled plastic bottles as well, is the kit. So I don't know, maybe we're going to see more players take their shirt off in celebration this season just because they don't want to keep it on because it's not going to be the most comfortable material. No, I'm not really too sure, but yeah, that's what has been said about the kit. So I guess that's a good thing as well. Well done, Reading, for doing your bit for the environment, I guess. So yeah, well done for that. It's not really too much I can comment on the kit, to be honest. One thing I can comment on though is our next topic of conversation, and that's going to be predictions for the upcoming season. So we're going to go ahead and go into our Reading predictions to start off with, and then we're going to go into our Championship predictions. So to begin with, the biggest thing that is going to be the key to this season is the final position in the table and where I think Reading are going to end up finishing. Now, I thought about this for a little bit. Throughout pre-season, I was talking a lot early on about how I think we're going to struggle. I think we're going to be in a huge relegation battle. And throughout pre-season, Reading have really helped their case to fight relegation, if I'm honest. I think the transfer business that we've done has been excellent. I think Mark Bowen and his recruitment team have done an absolutely brilliant job. And I think Paul Ince has also done great with his tactics. I think tactically he's been spot on throughout pre-season. I think he's definitely been able to make changes that everybody has wanted to see. And I think Paul Ince has definitely been doing the right things and has been making the right steps into the right directions. So this season I have gone ahead and I've predicted that we are going to finish 16th. I think it will be not a comfortable relegation battle finish. I think we'll avoid it in the end. I think it'll be around March time, April time when we're like, cool, we're officially safe now. And I think we will be all right. I really do. I've seen a lot of people tipping us to go down, and I really do think that they don't know what they're talking about, and they haven't really surrounded themselves in what Reading have done in this pre-season. I think a lot of people have just not really looked at it. I think look at the acquisitions of Jeff Hendrick. I think that's an absolutely outstanding signing. I think Sam Hutchinson, yeah, he's played in League One, but his experience and he just gives so much effort in every time. A lot of people have commented on Joe Lumley coming to the club and how he's a poor choice to come in. But really, I don't think he's been that bad so far throughout pre-season. Yeah, he's got a mistake in him, and we've seen that with the highlight videos, but listen, Ali Al-Habsi had a mistake in him. He was known as a joke goalkeeper before he came here, and the man won our player of the season 2 years in a row. So, listen, I just don't think you can judge it too quickly. We've got a fit Lucas Schwal now, who, listen, when he's on form, he can bang goals in for fun. Lucas Schwal, Yakumete, sorry. We've got a fit Yakumete now that is just absolutely outstanding. We've also got a fit Lucas Schwal, which we didn't have throughout the majority of last season. 10 goals last year he got in 20 odd games. So listen, I think it was 23 games maybe. He averaged a goal every 180 odd minutes. So that's a goal every 2 games. If we had Lucas Schwal last season, we might not have been in as much trouble as we were. I think it's going to be an interesting season, and I think we're going to finish 16th. I think, we'll be comfortably mid-table is where Reading will finish. Top scorer, who I think will be Reading's top goal scorer this season. I've gone with a slash one. I've gone for Yaku Mate and Lucas Schwal. So I've gone for a double. I've kind of cheated there. I do think Mate will be a big part of Reading's season this year. Looking from the way Paul Ince has played in pre-season, he started him up front, which is something that I really do like to see. And listen, when he plays them two up front together, they've looked really good. They look like they've got a bit of a partnership going on. Obviously, Mate and Joao, both big players. They're both able to win headers. They're both able to win flick-ons, and they're both able to power their way through. Lucas Joao is more of a more nimble player. He's more of a more dribbler. Someone that's going to be able to take a few players on. Whereas Yaku Mate is a guy that's going to be able to power his way through a defence. He's not got the greatest first touch, but he has got a powerful shot, and he has got the big strength on him that is going to be able to make him win headers and make him win balls in the air that are going to be more difficult. We've also got that option of Shane Long as well, which I tend to just not really spoke about at all throughout this Reading roundup at all. So we've also got him now. I don't think he'll be a top goal scorer, but he'll be able to help them two players be able to get more goals. Player of the season, I've actually gone for a defender. I've gone for Tom Holmes. Last season, Reading's defence was absolutely shocking. We had the worst defence in the league. And I think so far in pre-season, Paul Ince has done a big job. He's had a big job on his hands to tactically change that. And I think Tom Holmes will be a big influence on the defence this season. Towards the back end of last year, he really did have a much more improved season. And yeah, his performances were much more improved. Look at the game against Sheffield United. Him and Tom McIntyre were absolutely outstanding in them games. I think Tom Holmes is going to be a big player for Reading this season. He's also been given the vice captaincy. So if Andy Yeardom's going to be out for a little bit at some point throughout the seasons, we're going to see Tom Holmes stepping up and being the captain. Listen, I think it's going to be a big season for him, and I think he's going to be Reading's player of the year. Fans also love an academy player, so if he has a good performance, it will be like skyrocketed and times it by 100 because everyone loves an academy player. My surprise for the season, my surprise player of the season, should I say, is Tom Ince. Listen, I really like Tom Ince, and I think that's come across quite a lot throughout these Reading roundups. I think he's a really hard-working player, and I think he's really good. I think he's going to get a lot of game time, especially with Paul Ince being in charge. But I think it's also merited. I think he works really hard, and he is a player that will always put 100% effort onto the game. I don't think he's someone that will just lounge around and moan about things from what we've seen so far from him, especially last season and this. Tom Ince is going to be my surprise player of the season, and I predict him to become a bit of a fan favourite, to be honest. So going into the championship predictions then for this season, we're going to go through the promoted, relegated, surprise, top scorer and players of the season. In terms of our promotion chasing teams, there's quite a lot of them this season. You've got quite a lot of teams that have got a big ambition, but it's also the championship, and you can never predict what happens in the championship. So in terms of your promoted sides, I've gone ahead and predicted that Norwich, Sheffield United and Watford will be the three teams that go up. I like what I see from Sheffield United. I think they're a good side. I think they're a very good side, actually. And listen, the manager last year was able to kind of help turn it around, and they were able to get into the playoffs. I think they'll be comfortably promoted this season. I think this season it won't be too much of a chase. I think there will be Norwich doing what Norwich do every year. I think Sheffield United and Watford will be battling out for second and third. And yeah, I think the other one will win the playoffs. It's essentially just that. That's what I've got to say about it. I think Watford have got a strong enough squad as well to stay up, especially if they are able to keep not Naby Sarr, who we're getting, Ismaili Sarr, and if they keep Emmanuel Dennis as well. I know there have been players that have been talked about being So as it does every single time we record one of these episodes, the camera cut out once again. So we're in the middle of talking about Watford and why I think they'll be able to be promoted. Ismaili Sarr and Emmanuel Dennis are two key players. I think they've been rumoured to be transferred out. But also, I think if they're able to stay, listen, they're two big players to play in the Championship. They've both proved that they can do it in the Premier League. And listen, if they're in the Championship, it's going to be a tough one for every other team, that is. In terms of relegated sides, I've gone for Rotherham, Wigan and Birmingham. I think Birmingham have been on the decline for the last few seasons, and I think this will finally be the year that they go down. They've been declining for a while, and especially with the owner situation right now, and they haven't really recruited well. I think the last few seasons they've been lingering with a relegation battle. They finished just above us last year by 6 points, and obviously we had our 6 points taken away. I think Birmingham will be the team to struggle this year, and I think that will finally be the year that they go down. Wigan and Rotherham haven't really recruited very well. I think Rotherham have brought in some players, but again, I don't think it's good enough for Championship level. And Wigan haven't really brought anybody in. And listen, when you want to survive in the Championship from League One, you either stick with your squad if it's good enough, like Sunderland have, or you bring in some bigger players. And Wigan haven't really got the funds to do that. So I've gone for Rotherham, Wigan and Birmingham to go down. In terms of our surprises for the season, I've got that Huddersfield and Luton will struggle this year and will be more involved in a mid-table clash. Look, I think Huddersfield and Luton are tipped more in a lot of people's predictions to be up there fighting for the playoffs. I think both teams are going to struggle. Carlos Carvajal has left Huddersfield, and Luton have lost some key players this season that a lot of people don't realise. So I think that both teams are definitely going to struggle throughout this year. I've also said that Middlesbrough and Swansea will both finish in the playoffs, and I could see either of these teams getting promoted as well, obviously with the playoffs being very, very, very one-off. Listen, Middlesbrough have got the experience with Chris Wilder. They've also got a very good squad with, who they've got in their team. I think they've recruited quite well as well in the off-season. Zach Steffen is a very good goalkeeper to bring in for the Championship. And I think Swansea as well are a very good footballing side. I like Russell Martin as a manager. I think he is a top manager. And I think he will do a job for Swansea to be able to get them pushing for the playoffs. And I do think that they will finish in there. In terms of the top goal scorer for the Championship season, I've gone for Teemu Pukki. Listen, every time he's in the Championship, he scores goals, and he's probably going to score more goals again now. In terms of the player of the season, I've gone for Max Aarons. I think he will have a big season this year. He's just a good player, isn't he? He's a very good player. And yeah, I think he's going to have a big season once again. So that's going to be it for the predictions. We'll now move into our next topic of conversation, where we will talk about the Blackpool game. So it's going to be the first Championship game of the season for Reading, and it will be the first proper game of the season. Always look forward to playing proper football instead of pre-season football. The Butterflies are back and the energy is around. We've got Burnley versus Huddersfield tonight, and everybody is excited for the Championship season to kick off. We'll talk about Blackpool first, just to begin with. They've actually got a new manager for this season, so both teams coming in with permanent new managers. Obviously, Paul Ince was here at the back end of last season, but he's now permanently the Reading boss. Last season, they had a different manager, and he's now left. He's gone to go be Steven Gerrard's number 2 at Aston Villa. So quite surprising, really, that a full-time manager in a Championship club has left to go and be the assistant manager in the Premier League. He did end up beating Blackpool did end up beating Reading twice last season as well. There was a 3-2 win at the Select Carlton Stadium, where Reading were 2-0 up at half-time and ended up bottling it big time. And then there was a 4-0 win at Bloomfield, which was under Paul Ince as well. So that is something to take into consideration for this game. The new manager that Blackpool have brought in is actually the manager that is their least serving manager of all time. He was the quickest man to ever leave Blackpool after being named permanent manager, and that is Michael Appleton. He was in charge for 11 games previously, so he's going to look to hopefully start his new campaign off with Blackpool and his new job with a victory here against Reading. In terms of recruitment and who they have brought in, they've signed Rhys Williams, and that's the one that I've pointed out here in this video. Rhys Williams is someone that Andy Carroll absolutely destroyed last season when we played him against Swansea. So for me, I think a big sign for Reading for this game is going to be for Yakou Meite to go at him and just to absolutely run ragged on him. I think what we need to do is balls over the top. I think Meite needs to outpower, outpace and outmuscle Rhys Williams. I think he's someone that will be able to target throughout this fixture, especially with the power and pace of Meite, and he'll be able to cause problems throughout the entire game for him. Shane Lavery is someone that has been highlighted as a player to watch out for in this game. He scored 8 goals in 37 games for Blackpool last season and scored in the fixture last year in the 4-0 win, that is, over Reading. Blackpool lost their last pre-season game. They lost to Everton 4-2. Whereas we lost 2-1 to Brighton. So again, 2 Premier League opposition, so we were both coming up against harder teams. But Everton, bit of a struggling team recently. I know that obviously it's a Premier League opposition. They're probably the best team that they play this season. But yeah, Everton really have been struggling. So to concede 4 goals to a team that have really been down on their luck recently could be something that Reading could look to exploit. I think our best player throughout this game is going to be Yaku Mate as well. I think if we can give him the service and get him involved early on, then he could be a real problem for the defence. I think with Mate, he sometimes struggles for motivation. He sometimes lacks like that confidence. So I think if we're able to get him involved early on and able to get him in behind the defence, I think Mate can be a big asset for Reading and can really cause problems for Blackpool in this game. So in terms of my starting 11 for who I would start for this game, I've got Joe Lumley in goal. I think it's going to be between him and Bazounis for the number 1 shirt this season. And yeah, I think Lumley is going to be the starter to begin with. If he starts making mistakes like we've seen that he's been able to, Lumley will obviously drop out. And I think Bazounis will come in. Decent game against Wimbledon when we went there. Good penalty save as well. Tom Holmes, Hutchinson and McIntyre are going to be my 3 centre-backs that we play in this game. I think they've all played very well throughout pre-season. I think they've built a decent little bit of chemistry between the 3 of them. Obviously, that's going to be our main starting 3, I think, throughout this season. Obviously, Naby Sarr's coming in. I think he will probably replace Tom McIntyre as he moves to left wing-back throughout the season. In terms of my wing-backs, I have got Andy Yiadom and Junior Hoylett playing in them positions for this fixture. Again, I think this kind of a shoe-in that both of them are going to start, really, if we do play over back 5. Jeff Hendrick and Tyrese Forner are my 2 midfielders in the midfield. I've got them sitting a bit more deeper as we've gone ahead and got Ovie Ejaria and Tom Ince playing more forward. There'll be more wingers than central midfielders, but I think they'll also be sitting a bit more central than out on the wing, because I think that's kind of where Paul Ince wants things to go. He's got these wing backs that are pushing higher up, and then we've got Ejaria and Ince sitting more central to help them kind of push on forward. And then finally we've got Yaku Mate up front. Mate is going to start up front. The only reason I've gone for Mate over Joao is obviously he did pick up a injury against Brighton. I also would have changed it to Mate and Joao instead and gone with a midfield 3 if Lucas Joao would have been fit. He's got a fitness test coming today, so it'd be interesting to see if he'll be able to even make it to Blackpool. It's been said that Shane Long isn't match fit either, so I don't even know if he's going to be on the bench. I've also said that Femi Aziz will probably come on later in the game, as he'll provide some energy later on against the Blackpool defence, be able to run in behind. And yeah, hopefully we can see something from Aziz this season. In terms of a prediction for this fixture, I have gone for a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a bit more of a stalemate. I think it's going to be a bit more cagey affair, especially with both managers having their first official games in charge of the club. I know Paul Ince was here last season, but again, it was an interim basis. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think Yaku Mate is going to be the man to score the goal for Reading, and I think that is what's going to happen. So tell me in the comment section, guys, what you think about the Blackpool game. Tell me as well your season predictions. I'm looking forward to seeing where you guys think Reading will finish for this upcoming campaign. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you have all enjoyed it. I've been James. This has been episode 5 of the Reading Roundup. This isn't the second time that I've recorded this because of the last one cutting out without me knowing. Thanks for watching, guys. I've been James. We'll see you in the next one for our Blackpool review tomorrow. Thank you, guys. See you then.